Okay, we did it. We got through the first official day of testing for the 3-rotor RX7, and I'm still pinching myself. If you guys have been on the channel for a while, you know how much blood, sweat, and tears has been put into this car. You know how many times it's been rebuilt, and we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And the fact that I am drifting it and shredding tires in this thing now is absolutely amazing. Now, overall, the test day was phenomenal. Only in the last like 10 minutes of the track day did we almost catch on fire, but we didn't. We haven't gone through everything yet and inspected it fully, but we're pretty positive that the relay was just way overworked. So originally, this car was wired with one fan on the rear radiator, and now you can see we are running 2 to that same relay. So we're pretty sure that's what happened. We'll go through that and get that sorted, but for the most part, we had an absolutely amazing day. A few things that we found out. Number one, this car goes through about a gallon of E85 per lap. This girl is a fuel guzzler, and that was pretty wild. I have a small cell in here. I have the fuel safe drift cell, so it's only like 5 to 8 gallons. I know I should know. I just got it so long ago, and they don't have it on their site anymore, but it's small, right? So basically every 3 laps, you just want to come in and top it off, and by the end of the day, we did some math and realized it's about a lap per gallon of fuel, which is still wild. So we learned that. Also realized that going forward, we want to be able to turn predictive mapping off. I know I kept complaining about like partial throttle and throttle response, and we really think that that has to do with the ECU. Adaptronic just doesn't have the best like predictive mapping on it. A lot of people know that, and we never got the opportunity to fully tune this car. So that's going to be a huge priority next time Vargas is in town, is fully running through the car, tuning it 100% so that we can turn that predictive mapping off, and hopefully that fixes up any like stumbles or weird throttle response and how the car is reacting. So that is really good that we think we have a solution for that. And for the tire compound, most of the day was really just me getting acclimated and comfortable with this car. Like, I've never properly drifted this car, and I've never drifted a higher horsepower turbo car, and this thing is like a freaking monster. So it was really me getting comfortable with it now that I have my new BC Racing coilovers on and a front sway bar. That 100% gave me so much more confidence because we were able to put way more grip into the car. But by the end of the day, I was able to test out the Big Girl tire size, the Kumo Tire PS91 compound in the 305. That is currently what is still on the car. That is what I did my last few laps in, and it is great. It gives me just that much more grip. I didn't really notice a big difference with this smaller sidewall, which is great because that's what I was worried about. So yes, I would want to drift on the PS91 305 compound going into the competition season, and for this car, overall it was better. However, they are not going to have any in stock for the next like month or 2. And I found that out yesterday after going through all this testing. And the only compound that I didn't get to test at the track was the V730 in the 305s, which I was stoked to go out there and test it, but they also are out of stock of those for the next 2 months. So I'm realizing I'm gonna have to get comfortable on the PS91 275 tire size on both this car for now and the C6 Corvette. That really changes things for me going into the competition season because I was planning to run the biggest tire that I could, and I thought that was a 305 for the Corvette, and now I know it is a 275. I'm not as worried about the C6 because we could put a lot more grip into the C6 chassis. Mechanically, it just has so much more than the RX7, but that was a bummer. But we know the 305s are sick and they're amazing, and honestly, I drifted really well on the 275s as well, and they still had a lot of grip for the amount of power that this is pushing. And the power comes on so aggressively and so crazy in this car. But that is an update, because I know a big part of our track day was testing those tires, and I do like the 305s, but I'm gonna have to wait before I can get any more. So for now, we're gonna make my usual go-to PS91 compound work in the 275. So yeah, overall, we had an amazing track day. I still can't believe I am shredding in this car right now. We learned a ton. I got to get more comfortable, work on setup. I'm just overall really happy with how this is going. Obviously, we need to redo some of the wiring in there, and Cricket from Drift HQ is going to be starting on the ducting for the rear hatch today. So eventually, my next track day, I'll be able to have the hatch on the back and having her look a lot nicer. Today, we're going to be installing bash bars on this car. Finally, I worked with True Focus Fab to make some amazing bash bars with my favorite star dussets in them for the front and the rear of the car. You guys have seen their bash bars on my C6 and my 350Z. They're my go-to company for that stuff. I'll have a promo and discount code in the description below if you guys want to check them out. But I'm gonna go and grab them. I need to test fit them because I want to paint them as well, but I'm gonna test fit them before I paint them and then throw them on the car. Here is our special package from True Focus Fab. I was really good. Look, you guys, I didn't even open it without you. You can see my star dussets. I'm so excited. All right, here are my beautiful bash bars. This one is for the rear, that's for the front. And they put my star dussets in this rear one. If you guys are ordering from them, just tell them that you want the Collete spec, and that means star dussets. So I absolutely love this one. Now, the only thing that I'm worried about is the fact that this car is so beat up that maybe everything doesn't line up perfectly. So before I go and paint these, I'm going to test fit both the front and the rear, make sure everything lines up and they go on. And if we're good, I can bring these straight into the paint prep room. Like always, your bash bars come with all of the hardware that you will need. I'm just so excited that I actually need bash bars now because I'm actually drifting this car now. All right, so the rear bash bars, absolutely beautiful, bolted right up, no issues. So I know that I can just put these straight in the paint booth, paint them, install them, and call it a day. But what I was worried about was the front ones. Obviously, the front of this car is kind of hacked. You can tell I hit something at some point, and this tab on the bottom is like bent up. And of course, it's a little off in the front. So I just need to clearance one side for the bottom hole. I can either put it in this one and clearance that one, or vice versa. I'm just gonna go ahead and make this hole bigger. And then with the two bottom ones fitting, the two on the top on each side should be fine. All right, the front bash bar is on. I had to clearance a few more spots, but now we are good to go. And now I also have a very convenient jack point right in the front here. Now that I know the front and the rear fit perfectly now, I'm gonna take them off the car, move them into the prep room, stuff them a bit, and then hopefully I remember how to paint. All right, our bash bars are prepped and hanging in the booth. I did decide to hang up this one. At first I had it on the stand, but this will be a lot better. All I did was go over both of them with 400 grit and then clean them off. And now they are here and ready for paint. Now the color, I have not told you guys yet. If you can guess what my favorite color is, you already know what I'm painting them. Of course, I'm painting them House of Color Neon Chartreuse, the best color in the whole world. So let's get it. Already starting off with a big oops right now, but to be fair, this was a brand new gallon. I had originally opened another one, but it seemed like this might not have been sealed properly and it might be bad. It was just really chunky and I didn't want to risk using it. I'm gonna ask Randy if there's some way for us to make this good again. But in the meantime, I wanted to open up a brand new one and it was really full and pouring it was hard. But you know what? We're gonna clean this mess up and get right onto it. I still need to decide if I'm gonna add flake. I most likely will. When in doubt, flake it out. So with painting neons, white is your base. White is like the most important part of this entire process because the neon paint is actually transparent. So any mistakes in the white are gonna completely show through. I went and technically did 2 coats of white. Just that second time I was in there, I sort of went back and did another layer. So almost 3, I'd say like 2.5 coats of white to really get it fully perfect. I think I did a pretty good job. I was a little bit nervous. Bars are pretty hard to get into all the nooks and crannies, but I think I did pretty good. I definitely didn't help myself by having the main part of the bash bar being facing down, so I really had to like get under it and see what I was doing, but I think I did pretty good. This white would really show any mistakes, and it looks pretty freaking good, guys. Coats of our KDA 3002 House of Color white sealer. I'm gonna let that dry for about 30 minutes and then come back and then it's neon time. All right, this is my favorite part. I'm using the House of Color Neon Chartreuse. I already cleaned out my gun from before and everything is fully dry in the booth now. The neons already come pre-mixed, so the only thing that I have to do is add a little bit of reducer. be using my go-to dry flake, which is House of Colors Rainbow Flake. This exact flake is already on the RX7 in the engine bay when I painted it forever ago. So you take your dry flake and you actually mix it into their FX carrier base. So you don't mix it into a clear, or it's better if you don't, because this base is specifically meant for pearls and things like dry flake, and it actually helps suspend your pearl or your flake so that it's more dimensional, versus if you put it in a normal clear that's not supposed to have pearl in it, or it's not meant for it, it might just sink to the bottom. So this is what we're gonna be using, and for every quart of this, you add about 1 to 2 tablespoons of your flake. Are you ready for it? Ooh. Does that look like a tablespoon?
Yeah.
Send it?
Send it.
Very accurate measuring here. I feel like that's close enough.
Sometimes.
Yep. It's a pretty. Okay, for the flake, I am using a bigger gun. This is a 1.7, so that it's less likely to get clogged. Because this is bottom feed, the whole time you're gonna see me swirling it, trying to keep the flake moving around so it doesn't get trapped at the bottom here. To me, this is the most frightening part and the scariest part, because you've already done all the other work, and you can easily mess it up if you apply the clear badly. But I did use this on the interior of the C6 Corvette, so I am familiar with spraying it. Did it then, and now I need to do it one more time for the bash bars. Luckily, I'm not doing a full interior, so this should be a lot easier. All of the above, and I absolutely love them. They're gonna look so good on the 3-rotor car. I'm gonna let them sit overnight for a day or two, and then I'll throw them on the car in the next video. So that is it for this